John Carter had never imagined that buying a second-hand spaceship would change his life forever. He was a simple man, living on Earth's crowded spaceports, doing small delivery jobs. He loved the stars, but he never believed in adventures like the ones he read about in old books. That all changed the day he received a mysterious message. "You are the new owner of the Starship Astronova." The starship looked massive in the hangar. Its metal surface reflected the bright sunlight in strange colors. Its size was far beyond anything John had expected. But the paperwork was real, the payment had cleared, and suddenly, he was the proud owner of a ship that could travel across galaxies. He stepped inside, expecting emptiness. Instead, a strange noise echoed through the corridors. Footsteps. Heavy, deliberate, and surprisingly feminine. John froze. A shadow moved ahead. Then 3 figures appeared. They were taller than any human he had ever seen, easily over 8 feet tall. Their skin shimmered like polished copper, and their eyes glowed a soft violet. "You're going to marry us," said the tallest one, her voice musical but commanding. John's mouth went dry. I think there's been a mistake," he stammered. "I just bought the ship. I don't know you." The aliens exchanged glances. Their laughter filled the corridor. "There is no mistake, John Carter," said the second one, her smile both inviting and dangerous. "This ship is ours by birthright. And now so are you in a sense." John felt his stomach twist. How could this happen? He hadn't even left the hangar yet. "I don't understand," he whispered. The third one, slightly shorter but with an aura of strength, stepped forward. "We live here. We have lived here for centuries. Every human who owns this ship eventually becomes part of us. Don't worry, John. You will adapt." John's mind raced. Centuries? Months? Adapt? What did any of this even mean? He wanted to run, but his body froze. Something about their presence was overpowering, almost magnetic. He felt an invisible force pushing him to listen, to obey, and to stay. "Come," said the first alien, gesturing to the central hall. The walls of the ship glimmered with alien symbols and soft lights that seemed alive. "We will show you your future." The central hall was enormous, larger than any stadium he had ever seen. The floor was smooth and reflective, and above him, a dome showed a moving panorama of distant galaxies. The aliens walked gracefully across it, their eyes scanning John as if they could see his every thought. "Sit," said the second alien. "We will explain. You think this is a simple purchase, but this ship chooses its owner carefully, and now it has chosen you." John sat, unsure what else to do. His mind was spinning. They began to tell stories, ancient histories of the ship, battles fought in faraway galaxies, treasures won and lost, and secrets that humans were not meant to know. The more John listened, the more he felt a connection to the ship. Its energy coursed through him, strange and powerful. Hours, or maybe minutes, he couldn't tell, passed. By the end of their stories, John realized something terrifying and exciting. He had stepped into a world far beyond Earth, a world filled with wonders, danger, and beings who were as beautiful as they were deadly. "Tomorrow," said the tallest alien, "you will start your training. You will learn our ways, our powers, and your place here. Resist and the ship will resist you. Accept, and you may find something you never dreamed of." John looked at the 3 aliens. They were smiling, but it was clear they were not joking. He was trapped between fear and fascination, and deep inside, a spark of excitement ignited. For the first time in his life, he felt truly alive. The aliens disappeared into the corridors, leaving John alone in the hall. He looked around, touching the smooth walls, feeling the pulsing energy of the ship beneath his fingertips. He had no idea what tomorrow would bring, but he knew one thing. His life would never be the same. And somewhere deep in his heart, he wondered, could he really survive and thrive in a world ruled by giants? The next morning, John woke in a room unlike anything he had ever seen. The walls were smooth and glowing softly like liquid light. There was no bed in the traditional sense, just a floating platform that seemed to mold itself to his body. He sat up and rubbed his eyes, still trying to process everything that had happened. The 3 giant women were already waiting. They didn't knock or announce themselves. They simply appeared. "Good morning, John," said the tallest one. Her voice carried calm authority. Today you begin your training. You must understand this ship before you can control it. John swallowed hard. Training? I don't even know where to start. You will follow, said the second alien, walking toward a large doorway that shimmered like water. The ship has many secrets. Some are simple, some are dangerous. You will learn all. As John followed them, he noticed the corridors were alive. Symbols glowed and shifted as he passed. Lights danced across the walls, forming constellations he had never seen. The ship wasn't just a machine, it was a living being. They entered a massive chamber filled with strange consoles, each one floating in the air without support. Holographic screens showed galaxies, star systems, and unknown planets. Alien symbols moved across them, almost like they were thinking for themselves. This is the command center, said the third alien, her voice soft but firm. It is the heart of the ship. You must learn to communicate with it. The ship responds to your mind, but only if your mind is open. John stepped forward, unsure how to touch anything. The moment he reached out, the ship pulsed under his hand. Images flashed in his mind, stars moving, doors opening, unknown creatures watching from afar. He staggered back. Focus, said the tallest alien. The ship can see your fear. It will not harm you, but it tests your courage. Breathe, and let it know you are ready. John took a deep breath. Slowly he reached out again. This time he felt a connection. The ship's energy flowed into him like electricity, tingling through every nerve. He realized the ship could communicate, not with words, but with thoughts, images, and emotions. Good, said the second alien. You feel it. But there is more. Every choice you make here has consequences. The ship remembers loyalty, fear, and defiance alike. It rewards courage and punishes hesitation. They moved to another part of the ship, a chamber that looked like a garden. Plants floated in the air, glowing softly. Streams of water hovered without falling. Strange creatures, small and luminescent, swam through the air as if gravity had no meaning. This is the garden, said the third alien. It provides life to the ship. You must learn to respect it. Everything here is connected. Harm it, and you harm yourself. John reached out to touch one of the floating plants. It pulsed gently under his hand, almost as if it were alive. A soft voice echoed in his mind. Welcome, human. Respect and you will thrive. He jumped back, startled. The alien smiled. The ship speaks to you, said the tallest alien. Not everyone can hear it. You are special, John. But special brings responsibility. You must learn quickly. Over the next few hours, John was shown the ship's training rooms. Gravity could be changed, allowing him to walk on walls or ceilings. Combat simulations appeared as holograms, challenging him to defend himself against strange alien opponents. Technology beyond human understanding filled every corner. By the end of the day, John's mind was exhausted. Yet he felt exhilarated. He had touched the ship, spoken with it in thought, and seen a glimpse of the universe beyond Earth. The aliens watched him with faint smiles, their glowing eyes filled with judgment and approval. Just as he was about to rest, the tallest alien approached him. Tomorrow you will meet others, she said. Other humans who have been chosen. Some will help you. Some will test you. John's heart raced. Humans. Chosen? Tests. He had no idea what awaited him. As he lay on the floating platform, staring at the glowing ceiling, he thought about the words the ship had shown him. Courage, loyalty, survival. He realized one terrifying truth. His adventure had only just begun. The ship had secrets, the aliens had plans, and John Carter was now part of something far larger than he could imagine. And deep inside, a quiet thrill grew. For the first time in his life, he felt alive, not just alive but powerful. He didn't yet know how, but he would rise to meet the challenges the ship and its giant inhabitants had set before him. John woke to the soft hum of the ship. His body ached from yesterday's lessons, but his mind was alert. Today, the aliens had said, would be his first trial. He didn't know what to expect, only that it would push him beyond everything he knew. The three giant women were waiting. The tallest one's violet eyes glowed faintly. Today you face the first trial, she said. You will confront fear and doubt. The ship will guide you, but your choices are yours. John swallowed hard. What kind of trial? He asked, though part of him already feared the answer. The second alien smiled. You will see. Follow us. They led him to a large chamber, circular and shimmering. The walls were mirrors, but the reflections weren't John's own. Instead, they showed countless versions of him. Some weak, some powerful, some smiling, others screaming. The floor pulsed like it had a heartbeat, vibrating gently beneath his feet. This is the chamber of reflection, said the third alien. Here, you will confront your inner self. Only by facing your fears will you gain the ship's trust. John stepped forward cautiously. The moment he did, one reflection separated from the rest. It was a version of him, wearing ragged clothes, eyes hollow with fear. It moved toward him, shouting words he could almost hear. You are weak. You cannot survive here. You will fail. John's heart pounded. He wanted to run, but he remembered the ship's pulse, the way it had accepted him yesterday. He closed his eyes, took a deep breath and stood firm. Not today, he whispered. Suddenly, the reflection lunged, and the chamber erupted in a whirlwind of light and sound. Each reflection came alive, attacking him with visions of failure, loneliness, and doubt. John dodged and weaved, trying to focus, but it was exhausting. Then he remembered something the ship had shown him yesterday, a soft voice echoing in his mind. Courage, loyalty, survival. He centered himself. Every time a reflection attacked, he imagined the words glowing around him, pushing the illusions back. Step by step, he moved toward the center of the chamber, ignoring fear, trusting only his instincts and the faint guidance of the ship. Finally, the illusions froze. The chamber fell silent. The mirrors shimmered and dissolved, leaving John standing alone, exhausted but alive. The ship pulsed warmly beneath his feet, almost as if it were approving him. The tallest alien appeared beside him. Well done, she said. You faced yourself and did not run. The ship recognizes your courage. But courage alone is not enough. You must also learn control. The second alien gestured toward another part of the ship, a training arena unlike anything on Earth. Gravity shifted as they entered, allowing John to run along walls and ceilings. Floating platforms moved unpredictably, and holographic opponents appeared, attacking from all directions. This is the combat hall, said the third alien. Here you learn to control your body and mind. Every move counts. Mistakes can be fatal. John trained for what felt like hours. Each opponent was faster and stronger than the last. At first he stumbled, hitting walls, falling and barely avoiding attacks. But slowly he began to understand the ship's rhythm. It pulsed, responded to his thoughts, and even seemed to protect him when he trusted himself. By the end of the session he was exhausted, sweat covering his face, but exhilarated. He had never felt such power or such fear. As they returned to the living quarters, the aliens walked silently beside him. Finally, the tallest spoke. Tomorrow you will meet the others. They are humans like you, but each has a bond with the ship. Some are allies, some are rivals. How you interact with them will determine your next trials. John nodded, still trying to catch his breath. Inside, a fire burned. Fear was still there, but it had changed. It had become determination. That night, he lay on the floating platform, staring at the stars above. His mind replayed the chamber of reflection, the combat hall, and the strange feeling of the ship's energy flowing through him. He knew one thing for certain. Survival on this ship wasn't just about strength. It was about courage, control, and trust, both in himself and in the strange, living vessel that now held him. And somewhere deep in the corridors, unseen, the three giant women watched him. Their smiles were faint but knowing. John Carter had passed the first trial, but the ship held many more secrets, many more dangers. And the humans he would meet tomorrow? They could change everything. The adventure had only just begun. The next morning, John awoke to the soft hum of the ship again. Today was different. The tallest alien had promised he would meet the other humans, the chosen, as they called them. John had no idea what to expect. Allies, rivals, or something even stranger. He followed the three giant women through a corridor that seemed to stretch endlessly. The walls glimmered with constellations that moved and shifted like living creatures. Finally, they reached a circular chamber bathed in soft blue light. At the center, A platform hovered above the ground, and on it, 3 humans were already standing. They looked as startled as John felt. 2 men and 1 woman, all wearing simple training suits, stared at him with a mixture of curiosity and suspicion. The tallest alien spoke. "John Carter, meet your fellow chosen. Each of you has been selected by the ship. You will train, explore, and survive together. But beware. Trust is earned. Competition is inevitable." The first human, a lean man with short black hair, stepped forward. "So, we're stuck here together? Great," he said, his tone equal parts sarcasm and nervousness. The second, a tall woman with bright green eyes, gave John a sharp look. "I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to survive." The third human, younger than the others, seemed unsure of what to say. He glanced nervously at the aliens, then at John. I guess we work together," he stammered. John realized this wouldn't be easy. The humans had already started judging him, sizing him up. He could feel tension in the air, thicker than anything he had felt in the ship before. The third alien stepped forward. "Today you will face your first challenge as a group. The ship will test your ability to cooperate. Success requires unity. Failure will teach you lessons you do not want to learn." A section of the floor in front of them slid open, revealing a glowing pit filled with swirling energy. Platforms floated above it, forming a precarious path to the other side. John understood immediately. This was a test of coordination, balance, and trust. Without hesitation, he stepped onto the first platform. It hovered a few feet above the pit, and moved slightly under his weight. He glanced back at the others. The lean man jumped onto the next platform, losing balance slightly but recovering. The green-eyed woman moved with precision, calculating every step. The younger man hesitated, but eventually followed. Halfway across, one platform began to tilt violently. The green-eyed woman snapped, "Hold steady." She grabbed John's arm, anchoring him as the platform stabilized. The lean man almost fell but caught himself, while the younger one screamed and jumped, landing hard on the next platform. By the time they reached the other side, all 4 were breathing heavily, their faces pale with fear and adrenaline. The tallest alien clapped her hands lightly. "Well done. You survived the first trial as a team. But this is only the beginning." John realized something important. The chosen weren't just random humans. Each of them had skills, strengths, and weaknesses. Success on this ship would depend not only on him, but on how well they could work together. Over the next few hours, the aliens put them through more exercises. They navigated shifting corridors, solved puzzles that required both logic and intuition, and even faced simulated threats that tested their teamwork under pressure. Arguments flared, mistakes were made, but slowly, they began to learn each other's strengths. During a short break, John spoke quietly to the green-eyed woman. "You're really good at this. How do you stay so calm?" She smirked. "Experience. And knowing that panic gets you killed faster than anything else here." The lean man joined in, grinning despite his exhaustion. "And sometimes you just have to trust someone else to catch you, literally." He pointed to the earlier platform incident. John nodded, realizing that trust was going to be more important than courage or strength. Without it, even the bravest person could fall. As night fell, the aliens gathered the chosen in the central hall. The ship's dome above them showed a galaxy he had never seen, filled with bright colors and strange, moving constellations. "You have done well today," said the tallest alien. "But tomorrow the real challenge begins. The ship will take you to its outer corridors, where danger is real and mistakes have consequences. You must be ready. Your unity will be tested, and only those who survive together will continue." John lay in his floating platform that night, thinking about the day's events. He realized that fear wasn't gone, it had changed. It had become a tool, a reminder that he had to be alert, careful, and cooperative. He also realized something else. The ship was more than a machine, the aliens more than guardians. Everything on this vessel had purpose, and every choice he made would matter. The adventure was far from over. Tomorrow, the real tests would begin, and the chosen would see whether they could survive, or if the ship would claim them as it had claimed others before. And deep in the shadows of the ship, John felt the quiet pulse of power beneath his hands. waiting to see if he could rise to meet it. The next morning, John awoke with a strange sense of anticipation. Today the aliens had promised, the Chosen would face their first real trial, beyond the safe zones of the ship. The central hall's dome glowed with distant galaxies, casting eerie lights across the floor as the four humans followed the three giant women toward the outer corridors. The corridor ahead was unlike anything John had seen before. Dark metal walls stretched endlessly, lit only by narrow strips of pale blue light. The air hummed with power, and every step they took echoed unnaturally. "This is the outer zone," said the tallest alien. "Here the ship tests survival instincts. No simulations. Real danger. You must be alert at all times. One wrong move can cost you dearly." John swallowed hard. He glanced at the other Chosen. The green-eyed woman tightened her fists, ready for whatever lay ahead. The lean man's jaw was set, his eyes scanning the shadows. The youngest human seemed almost frozen with fear. As they stepped deeper, the corridor began to shift. Walls rotated, floors moved in ways that defied gravity, and glowing energy streams arched overhead. The ship was alive here, watching, responding, challenging them. Suddenly, from the darkness, creatures emerged. They were unlike anything John had seen, tall, skeletal, with eyes that glowed crimson. Their movements were quick and precise, as if they knew the humans' every step. "Remember your training," shouted the green-eyed woman, drawing a compact energy blade from her belt. John gripped his own weapon, a strange device the ship had provided during training. The energy pulsed through his hands, responding to his thoughts. He felt the ship guiding him, nudging him toward safer movements. The creatures attacked. They moved in unpredictable patterns, forcing the Chosen to dodge, strike, and coordinate. John realized immediately that teamwork was the only way to survive. He blocked a strike aimed at the youngest human and shouted instructions to the others. "Move left. Watch your flank. Cover me." Hours, or maybe minutes, time seemed meaningless, passed in a blur of motion, energy, and fear. The Chosen fought together, learning each other's rhythm. John began to anticipate the creature's moves, feeling the ship's energy flow through him like a silent partner. But the outer zone was relentless. The corridors shifted without warning, sending one of the floating platforms spinning into a pit of glowing energy. The youngest human barely caught the edge, clutching John's arm for support. "Hold on," John yelled, pulling him to safety. They all landed heavily on a stable platform, gasping for breath. The creatures were still coming, relentless, but the humans had begun to move as one, synchronized, precise, and deadly. Suddenly, the corridor opened into a massive chamber. The walls glimmered with alien symbols, and a swirling vortex of energy hovered in the center. The creatures retreated as if commanded by an unseen force. "This is the heart of the outer zone," said the tallest alien, appearing above them. "To survive, you must pass through the vortex. It tests courage, focus, and trust. Step wrong, and the ship will test you further, painfully." John glanced at the other Chosen. Their faces were pale but determined. They had come this far together, and now the final challenge awaited. Step by step, they approached the vortex. The energy inside shifted with their thoughts and fears, reacting to doubt and hesitation. John felt his mind tested as much as his body. Shadows of failure and loss flickered around him, whispering that he was not ready. He took a deep breath and focused. Courage, loyalty, survival. The words the ship had shown him before. He stepped into the vortex. The energy swirled around him, but he moved steadily, trusting the ship and himself. One by one the others followed. The green-eyed woman moved with precise confidence, the lean man with steady determination, and the youngest human with trembling but brave steps. Finally they reached the other side. The chamber erupted in light, and the creatures vanished into thin air. The aliens appeared, watching with faint, approving smiles. "You have passed the outer zone," said the tallest alien. "Few humans survived this trial. You have shown courage, focus, and trust, not only in yourselves but in each other. This ship recognizes you as worthy for now." John's heart was pounding, but a thrill surged through him. He had survived real danger, fought alongside others, and felt the ship's living energy flow through him like never before. But even as he caught his breath, he sensed something unsettling. The ship had shown them mercy this time, But not every trial would end so favorably. Danger and challenge were constant here. And the chosen would have to grow stronger, faster, and smarter than ever before. That night, as John floated in his room, he stared at the stars above the ship. He thought about the creatures, the vortex, and the bond forming between him and the other humans. The outer zone had tested them, and the ship had noticed. He didn't yet know what the next trial would bring, but one thing was certain. He was no longer just a man who bought a ship. He was a part of something far larger, a world of wonder, danger, and power beyond imagination. And somewhere deep in the ship, the three giant aliens watched silently, waiting for the next step in John Carter's journey. John woke slowly, the lingering exhaustion from the outer zone still heavy in his body. The memories of the creatures and the vortex haunted him, but a strange thrill pulsed through his veins. He had survived, but he knew the ship's trials were far from over. When he joined the chosen in the central hall, something felt different. The lean man, usually confident and brash, avoided eye contact. The green-eyed woman paced, her hands clenched into fists. Even the youngest human looked uneasy, glancing at John as if expecting something. The tallest alien appeared above them, her violet eyes glowing softly. You have survived the outer zone, but now the ship tests another aspect, trust within the crew. Shadows exist not only in the corridors but also in the hearts of humans. Beware, for not all choices are clear, and not all allies are loyal. John's stomach tightened. He had sensed tension before, but the alien's words made him realize it was more than fatigue. Something was brewing. They were led to a new chamber, one that seemed calm compared to the outer zone. A circular room with glowing walls and soft, ambient lights. A holographic display projected their recent trials and highlighted patterns of their teamwork. This is the chamber of reflection, again, said the second alien. But this time, the reflection is not of the ship or your fears. It is of yourselves. You will see truths that you may not wish to see. The hologram shimmered and shifted, forming images of the chosen, John the lean man, the green-eyed woman, and the youngest human, but in different scenarios. Some were heroic, others selfish, and a few horrifying. John watched as one image of the lean man abandoned the others in the outer zone to save himself. Another image showed the green-eyed woman betraying the youngest human for her own survival. John's heart pounded. Could any of these visions be real? He glanced at the others, tension mirrored on their faces. None of them spoke. Suddenly, the chamber's lights dimmed. Shadows grew long, twisting along the walls. A voice, neither human nor alien, echoed softly. Trust is fragile. Decisions define destiny. Without warning, the shadows detached from the walls and formed into figures, perfect copies of the chosen. They moved with uncanny precision, mimicking every gesture. The duplicates attacked, not with weapons, but with illusions of doubt, fear, and betrayal. John fought to steady his mind. Every time he hesitated, a shadow whispered his deepest fears. You will fail. You will betray them. You are alone. He remembered the words the ship had shown him before. Courage, loyalty, survival. He focused on the green-eyed woman, then the youngest human, then the lean man. Together, they pushed back the shadows, not with force alone, but with trust. Every time they moved as one, the shadows weakened, flickering like dying flames. You must act as one, shouted the green-eyed woman, finally breaking her silence. If we doubt each other, we lose. The lean man nodded, his earlier tension replaced by focus. We survive together. That's the only way. Step by step, they advanced, each trusting the other completely. The shadows hissed and retreated, fading into the glowing walls. John's pulse slowed, but he knew the trial had left its mark. Trust, he realized, was as dangerous and powerful as any creature in the outer zone. When the shadows vanished completely, the aliens spoke. You have survived the chamber of shadows, said the tallest one. You have proven that unity is stronger than fear. But remember, even the strongest bond can be tested. The ship has more trials ahead, and choices will grow darker. John looked at the others. Despite exhaustion, they nodded, understanding silently what had just happened. The youngest human, trembling, whispered, I didn't know I could trust anyone like that. Not even myself. The green-eyed woman placed a hand on his shoulder. Trust is a choice, kid. Make it wisely. As John returned to his floating platform that night, he felt a mix of relief and unease. The ship was testing more than skill. It tested character, loyalty, and morality. Every step forward came with shadows, both literal and figurative. He thought of the outer zone, the vortex, and now the chamber of shadows. Each challenge had forced him to grow, to trust, and to confront parts of himself he never knew existed. And he understood something else. He had changed. John Carter was no longer just a man who bought a ship. He was part of a living, breathing world, full of danger, mystery, and power. But deep inside, a nagging thought lingered. The ship has only shown mercy so far. What awaits next may demand more than courage or trust. It may demand sacrifice. And somewhere in the heart of the ship, the three giant women watched silently, their eyes glowing with a faint, knowing light. John Carter's journey was far from over, and the shadows within, and without, were only growing stronger. John awoke to a soft vibration beneath his floating platform. Today was different. The air seemed charged, alive, almost electric. The three giant women had promised the ultimate trial, the one that would decide his fate, the fate of the other chosen, and perhaps the destiny of the ship itself. He met the others in the central hall. The green-eyed woman's eyes glimmered with determination. The lean man's jaw was set in grim resolve, and the youngest human appeared tense but ready. John felt the weight of responsibility pressing down on him. He wasn't just fighting for himself anymore. The entire team depended on him. The tallest alien's voice echoed through the hall. The time has come. You have survived the outer zone, confronted the shadows of doubt, and learned to trust. Now you face the heart of the ship. There, the final trial awaits. It will demand courage, intelligence, and sacrifice. Fail and you will be claimed by the ship, not as guests but as lessons. John swallowed hard, gripping the energy device the ship had given him. The other chosen flanked him as the aliens led them to a massive chamber. Its ceiling stretched high, with glowing filaments that pulsed like veins. At the center, a spherical core hovered, a swirling mass of energy that radiated light and power. This is the heart, said the second alien. All the ship's energy flows here. The challenge is simple to describe but deadly to face. You must merge your strength with the ship, confront a being of pure thought, and survive. Only unity and courage will see you through. John stepped closer, feeling the core's pulse echo in his chest. The moment he touched it, visions exploded in his mind. He saw galaxies collapsing, stars forming, and alien civilizations rising and falling. Then, a presence emerged, a colossal being of pure energy, with eyes that seemed to see everything at once. You are intruders, the being's voice thundered inside his mind. You claim the ship. You claim power. Prove your worth or perish. The chosen froze, feeling the weight of the being's gaze. It probed their minds, testing courage, loyalty, and intent. Doubts rose like waves in John's chest. Fears of failure, of losing the others, of being unworthy. He remembered the lessons of the outer zone, and the chamber of shadows. Courage, loyalty, survival. The ship had tested them at every step, preparing them for this very moment. Stay together, John shouted. Trust each other. Trust the ship. The energy being struck, sending a wave of force that nearly knocked them off their feet. Platforms of floating light appeared, forcing them to move, dodge, and think as one. The core pulsed with every heartbeat. Every step they took amplified its energy, feeding the trial. The green-eyed woman led the first strike, focusing her energy on a floating panel of light that controlled part of the trial. The lean man coordinated their movement, creating shields and barriers, while the youngest human manipulated energy streams, showing courage beyond his years. John felt the ship flowing into him, guiding his actions. He moved with clarity, striking at the core's projections, defending his allies, and synchronizing with the others. Slowly, the being began to falter, reacting to their unity, unable to dominate their collective strength. But the challenge wasn't over. The being projected visions of their worst fears: failure, betrayal, death. The youngest human screamed as illusions made him believe the others had abandoned him. The green-eyed woman faltered as visions of her own past mistakes flashed before her. The lean man hesitated, seeing versions of himself giving in to fear. John grabbed the youngest human, holding him steady. It's not real. We're together. Trust me. He locked eyes with the green-eyed woman and the lean man, nodding. We survived together. No illusions can break us. For a tense moment, the chamber was filled with flashing light and energy, their hearts pounding in unison. Then slowly, the illusions began to crumble, the energy being recoiled, recognizing their strength, their courage, their unity. You have proven worthy, it spoke one final time inside John's mind. You are not intruders. You are partners. You honor the ship and yourselves. The core pulsed once more, sending a wave of warm light through the chamber. The chosen fell to their knees, exhausted but alive. The aliens appeared, their eyes glowing faintly with approval. You have completed the trials, said the tallest alien. You understand the ship, yourselves, and the power you now share. From this moment, you are no longer merely passengers. You are its masters, its protectors, its chosen crew. John looked around at the others. The fear, doubt, and tension had been replaced with awe and relief. They had faced impossible challenges, confronted fears both real and imagined, and emerged stronger. That night, John floated on his platform, staring at the stars above. The ship hummed softly beneath him, a living presence that now felt like home. He realized the journey had changed him, not just physically but mentally and spiritually. He had become part of something vast, beautiful, and terrifying. And somewhere deep in the ship, the three giant women watched silently, their expressions unreadable. The trials were over, but John knew the universe held endless mysteries. The ship had chosen them, but the adventures, across galaxies, through danger, and into the unknown, were only just beginning. For the first time in his life, John Carter smiled. He was no longer an ordinary man. He was a part of the stars, a part of the ship, and a part of a story far bigger than he had ever imagined. And somewhere, far beyond the known galaxies, the adventure awaited.